Hello YouTube, this is William. Welcome to another video. This was going to be a little bit different. As most of you know, my shop is in East Texas. We live on Sam Rayburn Lake and just outside of Etoile, Texas, about 10 miles east of Etoile, I guess. Lufkin, Etoile, then Louisiana. Okay, so we're pretty close to the Louisiana border. But anyway, we have just gotten through the blizzard of 2021, and I thought maybe I would share some of what I learned through this, and kind of help you guys with your preps. Now I know that there's been a lot of chuckling and ribbing from our northern brothers, but just kind of give you an idea. Texas is not equipped for this type of weather. I mean, we don't have the snow plows, the salt machines. We don't have. Matter of fact, our water lines are not buried deep enough for this type of temperature. So our water lines was breaking. We don't have the right clothing. I mean, that was another lesson that I learned. I mean, I don't even have a pair of insulated coveralls. I do have a pair of woolen long johns that was used quite excessively, I might add, and I'm going to definitely get another pair. But I mean, we just don't have the clothing for this. And when you hear of something like this coming, there's no time to prep, okay? So some of the things that I think that everybody should be prepared for is the unexpected. And I know that's a difficult thing to do, but we have to play different scenarios in our mind and be prepared for that. Now, I live in an area that we get hurricanes, we get a lot of the spring and summer storms and tornadoes and things like that. So we're very prepared for that. But an ice storm, the last time we had an ice storm that was anywhere near this, and this was a record storm. I mean, I don't know of anything like this that's ever happened, but the closest thing that happened was about 30-something years ago. So it's kind of hard to prepare from 30 years to 30 years. And especially a lot of the younger folks, I mean, they never witnessed anything like this in Texas. So I think that, let me just share what helped us. And of course, I mean, the wood heater. I have one at mom and dad's house, which is next door to me. I don't have one in my house. My house is so well insulated, even we was without power for almost 20 hours, which is phenomenal, because I mean there's people that's been without power since Monday, so that's 5 or 6 days now without power. So I mean, trying to get enough supplies for that is just phenomenal. I talked to my brother yesterday. He's been without power for since Monday, and he was trying to find LP gas because he had enough gas at the house, but he was using his RV for some other things, and so both of his tanks in his RV was completely gone, and so they went to try to get some gas, and of course everybody's out, and it's one of those things that even milk for his grandkids, they were trying to get milk, and we had an extra gallon, but they found some before they needed that, but. You know, it's difficult to get it, and he was having to go 100 miles south to find supplies. So I mean, just as simple things like a full tank of gas, extra gas cans for generators, and you know, you try to get prepared, but how long do you prepare for? 2 days, 3 days? In this case, it's a week. During hurricane season, it could be 2 to 3 weeks without power. Okay, so just an ice storm like this, and I'll insert some pictures here to kind of give you an idea. what happened here at my house was it started snowing Monday. And you'll see a picture here of my shop with this little bit of snow on the ground. I mean, we only got, I think, a couple, 3 inches. I mean, it wasn't much. And then the temperatures just plummeted. We got down to 9, and I know for some of my northern neighbors that's kind of laughable, but for us, I mean, we're not used to that. We don't have the clothing for that. Our houses are not designed to withstand that. So you know, it took some planning. Pipes, had to make sure pipes were wrapped, leave water running, drain lines where we could, that type of thing. And then I mean, we had wind chills down in below 0, which is completely unheard of around here. And then after that, Thursday, we started getting ice, freezing rain, sleet, and then the trees started accumulating ice. And when that happens, the trees start breaking, power lines go down from weight, and it just makes things worse. You can't drive on it. I don't care how many wheels you have pulling on ice, it just doesn't work. So you better have the supplies that you need on hand at that point and wait for things to thaw out, because like I say, we don't have the equipment to clear roads. So then it's just a matter of waiting and using the supplies that you have and hope you have enough. Make sure that you have enough water. Make sure the water is not going to freeze. I mean, just a lot of things that many people take for granted. One thing that some equipment that we were very thankful to have, and one of those, other than just generators, is these little battery packs from Jackery. And I have, this one is the medium, I think this is the 500. But this one, I use this one quite a bit, and I have a 1,000-watt one that I let my parents use for medical equipment, and it's a lifesaver. It truly is a lifesaver, and I highly recommend getting you some type of battery pack like this and keep them charged. This one right now, I just recharged it. It's sitting at 100% again, and I'll keep an eye on it and make sure that it stays charged for emergencies. Because I mean, you could plug in electrical equipment like heating pads and things like that, and oxygen machines and all kinds of stuff that you may need for the elderly. So even a fan during the summer, you have a power outage for a hurricane. You plug fans in these things. Plug in the 1,000-watt will run a small refrigerator. So you know, it's just little things like that you need to have standby just in case. So I highly recommend this. Jackery did very well. Like I say, the 1,000-watt and I think it's the 1,000, and I think this one's a 500. So I highly recommend these. There's other brands out there that I'm not familiar with, but these I know work very well. So, you know, they're kind of pricey, but again, how much is if you need it, how much is that worth? Like I say, if you have electrical medical equipment, then this is a must-have, especially the 1,000. This one, I don't know if it run medical equipment or not, but I know the 1,000 will. Okay, so that was a very good investment. Having enough wood for your wood stoves, having a wood stove installed in your house. I know there's a lot of homes in Texas now that does not have a wood burning type of stove in them, and this just proves the point that, yeah, although you may not need it for several years, when you do need it, you need it. So trying to have enough wood, and I got a cord of wood at the first of the season just for the shop, and then of course Mom and Dad, they didn't use theirs until now. So we've been kind of rationing our wood stockpile, and I've have another 2 cords ordered, but again, supplies are very low right now, so you have to plan ahead. There will be at least 2 to 3 cords of wood next year. Now, even though we'll be better prepared next year, it may not happen for another 30 years, and this may and again, this may be something that happens every year now, because people keep saying climate change, climate change, climate change. Well, yeah, the climate's been changing for 1,000,000 years. Even before mankind's footprint hit the earth, it was changing. So climate change is always happening. Now, are we going into another ice age? Who knows? Who knows? But I do know that we will be prepared if this thing happens again next year. We will have more wood. We'll make sure that I'll have another 1,000 one of these little lithium battery packs. I'll get another 1,000 one just for a backup to the backup. Our generators work very well. We had plenty of fuel for that. Thankfully, because the temperatures were so cold, we didn't have to plug in our freezers because our freezers was kind of out in different areas that stayed cold. Now we did the refrigerator stuff in the house. We put out on the porch just because the refrigerator in the house was warming up. But the milk and stuff we put out on the porch, and it was fine. But just little things like that. Clothing. Make sure you have adequate clothing for a situation like this. Keep your gas tanks full. Be mentally prepared for something like this, because games. I mean, if you have family, you're going to want some board games and things like that with power outage. Things to keep your mind occupied. Anything that is going to help your situation, just think about that. Medication, and the list could go on and on and on. And each individual, each family is different. But I hope that this situation actually made some people consider and think about their preps and how adequate or inadequate their preps were, where they can be improved upon. We need to use this. One thing that I do want to say is you cannot depend on someone else to come and save you, okay? This is another thing that should have been learned in this situation. We did not have adequate power for whatever reason, whether we depended too much on green energy, which is one scenario, whether our energy was sold somewhere else and we did not have adequate preps on our energy equipment. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios. FEMA was not here. So, I mean, you cannot depend on someone else. It is up to you, you individually. Don't depend on other people, because they will let you down every time, okay? I'm talking about government entities. Now, your fellow man, for the most part, 90% of people are willing to give the shirt off their back. And, I mean, that is another thing that I have seen through social media, is people willing to help other people. But do not depend on a government agency to come and save you, because that's not going to happen. It will not happen, okay? You're going to have to prepare and make sure that you're adequately have equipment and supplies to make it through whatever scenario comes up, okay? So everything is fine. We're warming up again. Spring is around the corner. But I do hope that everybody understands. Learn from Texas, because it can happen anywhere. And it could be any type of situation. It could be floods. It could be tornadoes. It could be hurricanes. It could be volcanoes. I mean, there's volcanoes coming active that's been dormant for thousands of years. So, I mean, you never know what's around the corner. So having some food stocked back, having water stocked back that's protected, having plenty of wood, enough heat to cook your food, to keep you warm, a shelter, roof over your head. I mean, just simple things like that you need to be very conscious of and not depend on other agencies to save you, okay? So anyway, I hope you guys take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, and it helps you in your future planning, because the way things are going, this may not be a rare thing anymore. We may be having more storms. We may be having more disasters and things like that that we as a human race need to be prepared for. And anyway, enough of my rambling. I hope you guys got something out of this. And until the next one, you guys get in the backyard, whittle on a stick. Be sure to take a child with you, get the opportunity. Teach that child about all these things and why we're doing them, because it could get like I said, could progressively get worse. So let's hope and pray not, but let's be prepared just in case. So until the next one, keep those plenty of knives and band-aids handy, and we'll catch you guys again very soon.